Hello, I'm Super Orange Cat here. I'm today with a big Toonami news update here for today, December 11th, 2020. Let's start with probably the most breaking news first. It was announced a little earlier today that, I on December 19th, we'll be getting two movies for Toonami. At midnight, we'll be getting Wonder Woman Bloodlines, and then following that at 1:45 in the morning, we'll be getting Justice League The New Frontier. Now, this is pretty interesting because if you remember in the news update I did last week, I mentioned what Toonami's schedule for December 19th was going to be. And I was talking about how Gemusetto Death Beats will be having 4 episodes air instead of the standard 2 to finish it up. For the marathons are presumably going to happen the next 2 weeks. So SSSS Gridman, or how many S's are in there, I don't care. Gridman would air in the lineup to begin the new year for Toonami. However, a little bit of a change of plans here. We'll be getting two DC related movies. And as a note, Gemusetto Death Beats, the 4 episodes that were supposed to air on the 19th, will instead be aired the next day on the 20th on that Sunday. So if you're a Gemusetto Death Beats fan, that's where you can see the last 4 episodes. But interesting note here, yeah. And a lot of people are like, well, this is a sudden change. Why would this happen? If you've been paying attention to Toonami or Adult Swim, definitely in general, the past couple weeks, they're owned by Time Warner, which also owns HBO, which of course means they own HBO Max. So there's been a lot of cross promotion throughout the entirety of the network over the past week or two. There's general rumors that HBO Max is hilariously underperforming right now its expectations. So they're making all these pushes to try to push HBO Max and to get people to be into it. I mean, and of course, since if you've been following, you know that Wonder Woman 1984, the sequel to the Wonder Woman movie starring Gal Gadot, will be sometime in the next week or two. I think on Christmas, actually, put onto HBO Max. It's kind of like when Disney Plus put Mulan on for like a $30 extra surcharge, and what has become one of the most hilarious bombs in movie history. Like, you make a movie almost purely for Chinese audiences, and even the Chinese audiences hate it. Again, Wonder Woman 1984, it's also generally expected to completely bomb out. There's no momentum for this movie. And right now, Time Warner's just doing whatever the hell they can to try to get this one over the finish line, which means cross promotion. And a good target for that is the anime audience, on Toonami. So what else? What can we do? We have DC movies. We probably have a Wonder Woman movie or two in the works, or not in the works, but in our archives. Let's put that on Toonami, and that's what we got here. So this really probably was not a decision by Toonami. It was probably something kind of forced on them from higher above. So we are getting these films. It's generated a pretty negative reaction here, you know, and I mean, just yeah. I mean, I don't think a single person is like ecstatic about it. Some people are like, "Oh, we get more movies. It'll be kind of like when we had the Batman movies earlier this fall," and that's really as good a response you're going to get. Just a lot of general negative reaction for people who just want a normal Toonami schedule, because a lot of people now fear that with this happening the 19th and the more news I'm about to mention in a moment on the 26th, we are having a marathon on the 26th, and the fact that we're probably going to get another marathon the week after that, we're going to have 3 straight weeks interrupting the normal Toonami schedule. So I hope there's no shows that have like a big cliffhanger episode tomorrow night, or else they're in big trouble, you know. Now on to the next big news, second biggest news, not second biggest, but the second most recent news. That is the announcement from yesterday that I was correct. Cowboy Bebop will be getting a marathon the night after Christmas. It is a rare prediction I got right, so I am gloating about it. And again, it's interesting here because Cowboy Bebop is a 26 episode long show. Compare that to a couple of the shows that we've had marathons of recently. Primal, 10 episode first season, you could fit that in one night. And then The Promised Neverland, 12 episode long first season, but they took advantage of the extra hour daylight savings time, so they were able to air the entire season in one night. So Cowboy Bebop is not going to be able to tip the entire show. But what happened here is that they had, I mentioned earlier, Toonami kind of online had this like March Madness style bracket, pick your favorite Toonami show, and Cowboy Bebop won. And what they did was that they allowed the person that had the best, I guess, most correct bracket pick the episodes that he wanted. And I don't have in front of me the exact episodes. It was like 5, 6, 11. But the general common theme between these were that these were the episodes that heavily featured the relationship between Spike and Faye. So that's kind of the gist of the type of episodes you're going to be getting Cowboy Bebop in this marathon. A couple Saturdays for now on the 26th. But again, very predictable because it was kind of known for a while that the winner of that pick'em was probably going to get a marathon, probably going to get the coveted Christmas marathon. And another fun fact about this is the second time actually that Cowboy Bebop has had a marathon on Christmas on Toonami. It had the Christmas marathon back in 2017. This generated a pretty positive response overall from the Toonami fan base because it's been a little while. It's been about 2.5 years since Cowboy Bebop appeared on the block. And although it kind of used to have this reputation of back end 3:30 filler that no one really watched, I think some people just really want to see it back, albeit for just one night. And probably the most impactful news of this past week has been, and some people brought my attention to this, the fact that Sony, who currently owns Funimation, bought the rights to Crunchyroll from Time Warner for $1.2 billion. And why this is notable? Well, it's kind of like why whenever Disney acquires something, it's notable. They're building closer and closer to this monopoly of anime distribution in the United States, and that sets a pretty scary precedent, because they get to accumulate all these different anime rights, all these different anime titles, and they get to control the market. And in a market that is almost a guarantee to grow, the anime market in the United States is, as everyone really forecasting is, then this can entail high profits. This can entail their ability to crowd other distributors out of the market. And I think the only, I'm not even going to say strong competitor, only like kind of competitor that Sony now has in the United States, this is High Dive. And High Dive really does not have the quantity or really quality of titles overall to really compete. So, generally seen as bad news. And from a Toonami perspective, you might know that Crunchyroll and Toonami used to be under the same Time Warner umbrella. And a lot of people at the time when it was announced that Crunchyroll was going to be bought by Time Warner way back when, they thought, cool, Toonami's going to get like first dibs at Crunchyroll shows. That really has not been shown to be the case. The only time where you can argue that Crunchyroll's ties with Toonami helped them might have been just for season 1 of Mob Psycho. And that's really it. I can't think of another single instance where I could think that Crunchyroll really helped Konami out with anything. And yeah, I mean, we're not going to see much of a change in terms of distribution rights within Konami shows. And he had Jason DeMarco go out a couple days ago when this news was announced, talking about how he was aware of this deal for a long time, but they finally came public with it so he can legally, by public disclosure agreements, non-disclosure agreements, was allowed to talk about it. Said basically that don't worry, the shows that we have that are technically Crunchyroll titles along with us, they're fine. But he added one more detail to it that kind of scared me, saying, "Oh, we can do a good TV rollout airing schedule with Sony." That does not show much confidence. All that shows is like, okay, we didn't really expect this. We don't really know how we're going to really air these shows, what our end game with getting these shows on TV are. But I guess we can do it. Like, and no, it's all on paper. The signing agreements. We're still gonna get the 3 shows affected by this. By the way, are Fina, Pirate Princess, Shenmue, and Blade Runner. Uzumaki is not affected by this deal. They're not connected to Crunchyroll, by the way. So Uzumaki will not be affected the least bit by this. The other 3 probably will to some degree, and it remains to be seen how. My guess is that we might have to wait a tiny bit longer to get the dubs out on Toonami. So if I'm a betting man, I'm tentatively guessing we get Fina Prime Princess sometime in the summer of 2021. We probably get Blade Runner sometime in the spring to summer 2022, and Shenmue probably the fall of 2022. But these are just guesses at this point, you know. And again, I mean, only impact of this is just negative for Toonami because of the connections of the shows that Crunchyroll had with co-production with Toonami. But yeah, and this has been the Toonami news update of December 11th, 2020. What do you guys think? What's your opinion on any of the big news really that I had to update about you today? Leave your comments, leave your opinions down below. I love reading them. you like this content, if you want more Toonami news content like this, please like, please comment, and subscribe. I am the Super Orange Cat, and that is all.